The year is 1776. A young nation dares to defy an empire. The Declaration of Independence, a beacon of liberty, a challenge thrown at the feet of tyranny. The American Revolution was a crucible. Out of the flames of that conflict, a new nation emerged. The United States of America, founded on principles of self-governance and individual liberty, took its first breath. The fight for independence was long and brutal. Farmers and shopkeepers turned soldiers faced the mighty British Army. Against all odds, they persevered. Victory at Yorktown in 1781 secured American independence. The fledgling nation, battered but unbroken, had proven its mettle. This was just the beginning. The American spirit, forged in the fires of revolution, would drive the nation to new heights. Expansion, innovation, and a relentless pursuit of progress would come to define the American story. The world watched as this new power on the world stage began to write its destiny. America in the 19th century, a nation brimming with ambition, fueled by the spirit of manifest destiny. The belief that the United States was destined to stretch from the Atlantic to the Pacific, spreading its ideals and influence. The Louisiana Purchase in 1803 doubled the size of the nation overnight. A vast territory, ripe with resources and possibilities, now lay open to American settlers. Westward they went, pioneers and dreamers, seeking fortune and a fresh start. Across the Great Plains, over the Rocky Mountains, they pushed the boundaries of the nation. Native American tribes, the original inhabitants of these lands, were displaced and their cultures threatened. The cost of expansion was high, but the momentum of manifest destiny was relentless. By the late 19th century, the United States had achieved its continental ambition. From the Atlantic to the Pacific, the nation stood united. But America's gaze was already shifting beyond its borders. The world was shrinking, and the United States, with its growing economic and military might, was poised to play an increasingly prominent role on the global stage. The Industrial Revolution, a period of unprecedented technological advancement and economic growth. America, with its vast resources and entrepreneurial spirit, embraced this revolution wholeheartedly. Factories sprang up in cities, churning out goods at an unprecedented rate. The railroad, a symbol of progress, connected the nation from coast to coast. The rise of industry brought about profound social and economic changes. Millions of Americans flocked to cities in search of work. The middle class expanded and standards of living rose. The United States was becoming an economic powerhouse, its industries rivaling those of the old world powers. But this rapid industrialization came at a cost. Working conditions in factories were often harsh and dangerous. Labor movements emerged, demanding better pay and safer conditions. The gap between rich and poor widened, creating social tensions. Despite these challenges, the United States emerged from the Industrial Revolution as a global economic force, its industrial might unmatched. Section 4, The World on Fire, America's Entry into the Great War. 1914, Europe erupts. The Great War engulfs the continent. The United States watches from across the Atlantic. The sinking of the Lusitania stirs public opinion. German submarine warfare and the Zimmermann telegram push the United States to the brink. In April 1917, America enters the war. American troops arrive, turning the tide of the conflict. The war ends in 1918, with the Allied powers victorious. The United States emerges as a major player on the world stage. The war leaves Europe in ruins. The Treaty of Versailles sows the seeds of future conflict. The United States retreats into isolationism. But the world would soon call upon America once again. The forces leading to another global conflict are already in motion. Section 5. From the Ashes of War, America's Rise to Superpower. 1939. The world plunges into darkness once more. World War II, even more destructive than its predecessor, engulfs Europe and Asia. The United States, initially neutral, provides material aid to the Allies. The Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941 shatters American isolationism. With a declaration of war, the United States enters the fight. American industry, revitalized by the war effort, churns out tanks, planes, and ships at an astonishing rate. American soldiers fight with courage and determination on battlefields across the globe. The war ends in 1945 with the unconditional surrender of the Axis powers. The United States, victorious but scarred, emerges as a global superpower. The war reshapes the world order. Europe lies in ruins, its economy shattered. The Soviet Union, having borne the brunt of the fighting against Nazi Germany, emerges as a rival superpower. The United States, with its unmatched economic and military might, stands as a bulwark against Soviet expansionism. The stage is set for a new kind of conflict, the Cold War. Section 6. The Cold War, a clash of ideologies. A new struggle begins, a war of ideas, a battle for hearts and minds. The United States and the Soviet Union, former allies, now face each other as ideological adversaries. The Cold War casts a long shadow over the 20th century. From the Berlin airlift to the Cuban Missile Crisis, the world watches on a knife edge. Proxy wars rage in Korea and Vietnam. The threat of nuclear annihilation hangs heavy. The Cold War is a time of technological competition and a race to space. The United States seeks to contain communism through economic aid and military alliances. The Soviet Union, facing internal pressures, eventually crumbles. The Cold War ends not with a bang, but a whimper. Section 7. America Today. Challenges and opportunities. The 21st century dawns. The Cold War is over, but new challenges emerge. Globalization, terrorism, climate change. These transnational threats demand new approaches, new thinking. The United States, still the world's sole superpower, faces a complex and interconnected world. America's economic and military might remain unmatched, but its influence is waning. Rising powers like China and India challenge the existing world order. Domestically, the United States grapples with political polarization, social inequality, and a rapidly changing economy. The path forward is uncertain. The United States can no longer dictate terms to the world. Cooperation, diplomacy, and a willingness to work with others are essential for navigating the challenges of the 21st century. The American spirit of innovation, resilience, and a commitment to its founding ideals will be tested as never before. The future of the United States, and indeed the world, hangs in the balance.